Everyone, so if you've been following the channel for a while, you know I recently picked up this new 2020 Raptor. My father also picked up a 2019 Lariat that he ordered from the end of the year from the factory. So I just want to cover some of the things that I learned in the process of researching and buying this truck over the last about 6 months in 12 dealerships during the buying process. Now, the reason we went to so many dealers, we knew where we were going to buy from, but we just want to see a lot of features and aspects in person, which I will cover in this. The first thing is, even though a lot of these trucks, depending on what trim and equipment group you go with, they have a lot of tech in them, and a lot of people are very intimidated by a lot of the technology and electronics, but as I have discovered, they have turned out to be very useful and helpful, especially if you use the truck in more of a daily type setting. Between the safety systems and the convenience of a lot of the systems in here, like you have the adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, your reverse sensors, your blind spot monitors, your keyless entry, your heated and cooled seats, 360-degree camera, your touch screens. The list goes on. There's a ton of technology in these trucks, and Ford has done an incredible job integrating all these systems into this truck and making them work very well, both from a convenience standpoint and a safety standpoint. Initially, I wanted kind of more of a basic spec truck, but after driving this truck around for the last few months, I'm using a lot of these features I didn't expect to use, and the convenience of having a lot of these features makes things a lot better, and the safety aspect is also something great to have. They can also help lower your insurance rates as well. So you definitely might want to consider that. I know a lot of people are very intimidated by it. When people get new cell phones, say, "Oh, I don't want all I don't want all these features." But something like this, you should definitely consider a lot of those features. Read the reviews, see what people have to say, what owners have to say. I gotta say, I really like a lot of the tech in this truck. As much as I don't consider myself a tech person, this stuff is really great and works very, very well. The next point I want to talk about is, do not assume that a truck does or does not have certain aspects or features, especially depending on like the price point of the trim level. Do not assume anything. Some examples I'll give for the Raptors is, I've talked to someone who was looking at an 801 Raptor, which is a mid-level Raptor. The truck was about $70,000 with all the options it came with, and the person thought that it came with push-button start. But after I was talking to him, I said, "No, that truck does." He goes, "Are you sure?" Because it was so expensive. Because a $50,000 Lariat will come with push-button start, but a $70,000 Raptor didn't. So he was a little surprised by that. So again, expensive does not mean features. Another example I'll give, when my father was looking at his truck. He was looking between XLT and Lariat, and what he found was a lot of people were assuming that because the Lariat comes with a nicer transfer case, which has all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, a lot of owners were assuming the XLT came with that as well, but they don't come like that. And he read on the forums, a lot of owners order an XLT, the truck comes in, now it doesn't have the transfer case they wanted. Now they're kind of stuck with that truck because they ordered it brand new. So you really need to thoroughly read the descriptions, look at the trucks in person, and make absolutely sure you know what you're getting, which brings me into my next point. Ford has their view local inventory option on their website, where you can narrow down like colors and features and options, and you can see what dealers around you have what. Definitely use that tool to go look at every aspect in person. Look at all your colors and options in person. These trucks are expensive. This is a big financial decision for most people, and you should not be assuming anything or just hoping things are the way you're going to come in. The example for me, I was originally planning on getting a blue truck, but when I went and looked at the colors in person, I ended up finding that this was the nicest color. I looked at both blues, I wasn't really impressed. I looked at every single Raptor color in person. That's one of the main reasons I went to so many different dealerships, and I found that this looked the best. Also, the colors can look different from vehicle to vehicle, even though they're the same color. Example, again with this, I went to one dealer, they had a race red Rattler parked next to a race red F250, right next to each other, under the same lighting conditions. I verified that both trucks were the exact same color, they were brand new, and the Raptor looked like a different color red. That's just, I guess it's just between the trim, maybe it could have to do with the amount of clear coat on the truck, but that's why you want to look at it in person, because you may have looked at seen a color in person and say, "I don't like that color," and then you see it on the vehicle you're actually looking at, as opposed to a different vehicle, and you're like, "Oh wow, this looks a lot better," because that's what happened with me. Same thing with your wheel packages, same thing with your interior options. Cloth seats can look different than leather seats look in person. The XLT has the sport package has a pattern down the middle. It's not really noticeable in pictures, and even with these high definition pictures and videos, things may not come out the way they look in person. Like the design on the XLT cloth seats looks much more pronounced in person than it did in in some pictures. And these interior packages, like a sport package versus a chrome package, the accent pieces can look very different, and you may find out you actually don't like those pieces when you look at them in person. So just do your homework, go around. It's actually fun going to all these different dealers and actually looking at all these trucks in person. I really enjoyed all that time doing that. The next thing is consider the next trim level up if you are looking at a fully loaded truck. I'll give the example of my father. He was a little unsure between a fully loaded XLT, like 302, sport package, nicer wheels, FX4, and a mid-level, a 501 Lariat. Again, FX4, sport package, nicer wheels, and he was going back and forth between the two. We were looking at them at different dealers. And what we found was Ford doesn't really highlight the differences very well. You really have to thoroughly read the description. For what ended up being only about a $2,000 to $2,500 difference sticker price wise before the discounts and incentives and all that stuff, was that the Lariat offered a lot more features and aspects that weren't available at any level on an XLT for not that much more money. So some of the examples that his Lariat ended up coming with for not much more money were the all-wheel drive transfer case, the all-digital gauge cluster, the keyless entry, the cooled seats, the automatic climate controls, the electric tailgate release, the memory seats, the painted mirror caps, and that's just some of it. I think the list actually was bigger than that. So that's a lot of stuff, some of which you cannot go back and add later on. Some you can, but it is very, very expensive to add. Like some guys with XLTs are switching to the better transfer case. That's a big project to do something like that. It's a lot of money. So you definitely want to look at, and this is true for whether you're looking at XL to XLT or Lariat to Platinum, at least go on the Ford website and build up a similarly spec truck at the next level. And you may find, wow, you know what, I'm getting a lot more features for not that much more money. And that's what happened to my father, and he was very happy that he did that because his Lariat was much nicer equipped than a comparable XLT would have been for not that much more money after all the discounts and incentives. The next thing is, most people don't realize this, but you can get the same discounts from Ford. The dealer may vary, whether you take the truck off the lot or order from the factory. My father, for example, when he ordered his truck, the dealer we ordered from gave the exact same discounts and incentives, whether you ordered the truck from the factory or you took it off the lot. And what was nice is they locked him into those incentives. So if the incentives changed from the time the truck got ordered to the time it came in, he was locked in so he wouldn't lose them. But if they got better when the truck came in, he would get the better incentives. So that was great. He ordered exactly what he wanted. He didn't have to take something off a lot where, oh, it's got a few things I don't really want. It's missing one or two things I really did. He got the exact truck he wanted for all the exact same discounts, and he was very, very happy and really thoroughly likes the truck. The next point is, depending on how long you like to keep your truck for, if you're someone that gets a new truck 3 to 5 years, I won't recommend this, but if you're someone that keeps your truck for a much longer duration of time, 10, 12, 15 years, definitely consider an extended warranty. My first point, I discussed all the tech and all the electronics in these trucks, which is really good, but there can be issues with those things down the road. So as much as I like having them, I would definitely recommend getting a warranty like I did, especially if you're spending this much money. They end up really being not that much more percentage-wise relative to how expensive these trucks are. There's different years and different mileage packages available. And also, you should definitely consider some of the dealers that offer online warranties. Now, there are a couple dealers in the United States that sell authentic Ford factory warranties online through their dealer to anybody in the country. Now, there's a couple restrictions for certain states, but typically these are considerably cheaper. It almost seems too good to be true, but it's not. If you go on all the various Ford websites, you can find a couple of these dealers that are very well known, and a lot of owners have had nothing but good things to say about these dealers. Some local dealers will price match, some will not. Some will get the pricing close, some can't. Basically, the ones that sell these genuine Ford warranties online, they make their money because through volume sales. They may not make a lot of profit off each warranty, but they sell a ton of them, versus your local dealer, which may not sell nearly as many extended warranties, so they have to up the price to kind of compensate. But definitely check out on the forum some of the Ford dealers that sell warranties online. Next thing is, when the truck comes in, whether it's an order truck or it's on the lot, definitely do your own inspection, check for damage, check on the body, the wheels, anything like that. Give the truck a thorough checking yourself. Also, before you take it off the lot, I'd recommend pop the hood, look around, check your fluids, check your tire pressure. Basically, when they take the truck in for dealer preps, they don't really do much. They basically just they make sure that there's no codes. Usually the dealers themselves will look over the trucks for damage, but you should definitely do it yourself. And they really don't go under the hood if there's no warning lights or no problems, there's no codes coming up. And when I took my truck home, what I found was the engine was about half a quart low on oil, and the tires were overinflated, which is common for the Raptors. So they don't really check that kind of stuff if there's no warning lights coming on, so you definitely want to check that stuff for yourself. I talked to them later on about that. They said they really don't. They used to be more thorough, but they really don't do that stuff anymore, so you really want to check over the truck yourself just to make sure everything's good. And the final point I have is consider not getting the truck dealer prepped, cosmetically speaking. Now, typically when you get a new vehicle, they'll take it in, they'll take all the bags off the seats, the protective stickers on it, they'll wash it, they'll vacuum it. When I took the truck, I just had them do the electronic prep, make sure to take it out of dealer delivery mode, make sure there were no codes, anything like that. But I told them, do not wash the truck, don't vacuum it, leave all the bags on the seats, the plastic protectant, I'll take it home. I drove it home exactly like that. If you watch my unboxing video and some of the detailed videos I did earlier, or late last year, I went over that stuff because if you're very particular like me and you're worried about any sort of scratches on the inside, damage to the clear coat, they use the same mitts and wash brooms and all that stuff they're using on your vehicle like they do on everything else. And I didn't want to risk them, put scratches in the clear coat or any sort of other damage to the truck. Because even though when the truck came in, it still had some scratches on it, just going through transportation and whatnot. Nothing really deep, just really minor surface scratches. But when I got the truck home, I gave it a real light polishing. I went over, I detailed it myself to make sure the truck was absolutely perfect and there was no extra damage put into it before I took ownership of it. And I really enjoyed doing it. I really enjoyed just taking all that stuff off, seeing how they come into the dealer, putting really the premium detailing products that I have on the truck, your protectants, putting really good waxes and polishes on the truck, making sure the truck is thoroughly prepped and getting the truck set up to my level of expectation. So these were some of the main things I learned from purchasing and researching and buying the trucks. Me and my father both learned over that period of about 6 months and trips to about 12 different dealers. A lot of fun, learned a lot. If you have any questions or any comments about some of the aspects that I talked about, just leave the questions in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.